To create curbs, companies often use plugins such as Railclone from i2 website. It allows you to create very quickly and easily things that will take a little bit of time to create. Like for instance, if you wanted that particular curve there, I select the ground and open the modifier. Enable the editable poly and click on the edge selection. Then you can create a shape from the selection. You go into linear. Select a shape. We can easily just go into the modifier and use a modifier called sweep. Let's say you wanted that curve to have this particular shape. You just increase its values. With Railclone, the entire process would have been much quicker, because Railclone will actually allow you to, just with a spline such as this, you'll create the curve and the textures and everything else automatically. Also for trees and litter and leaves on the ground, you can easily create it with Forest Pack. The Forest Pack also allows you to create patches of grass, trees, and many types of environment assets. So the next thing that we're going to do, we're just going to add some curbs there and some cars. So now we're going to start with the first material, the glass. Open the material editor. So you're going to call this material glass. Click on the standard toggle, open the V-Ray rollout and select the V-Ray material and just assign it to the glass. First thing that we're going to do is to deselect the Fresnel reflections, deselect the highlight glossiness, because before it was just locked, but in order to have a better control, we're just going to unlock it, and then in a reflection we're just going to click on its color swatch there. So the brighter the color, the more reflectivity you'll have. To control the reflections even better, you can simply just click on the background there. So that background, double click on it. So now you see the less reflectivity, the less you'll see there. So that's how you control the reflectivity of any V-Ray surface. So there, you want the glass to have a little bit of reflection, but not too much. And most glass objects have a little bit of sheen. Decreasing the highlight glossiness values will increase the sheen, or vice versa. So at the moment the glass is opaque. Okay, the reflection glossiness obviously needs to be at 1, because there's no diffuse reflection with most glass materials. So to control its opacity, you're going to go into the refraction group here. So the brighter you go, the more transparent the glass will be, as you can see. The darker the color, the more opaque. The brighter the color, the more transparent the glass is. Also, window glasses, more often than not, they don't have too much refraction. So we're going to reduce its refraction to about 1.1 or even 1.2. And we can actually add a bit of fall off to the reflection by clicking on its toggle and choosing the fall off procedural map from the standard rollout. So in a fall off here, we're just going to go to something like 25. So it's not completely black. If it was completely black, depending on the camera angle, that glass wouldn't have any reflectivity. Also, we can change the color of the glass. Choose maybe greenish type. Now we've created the first material, let's do a quick test render now. So now we have the glass. As you can see from the preview, the sky color is reflecting on the glass, and that's how most glass objects should behave. And that particular glass there, not so much, but that can be rectified later. We can also do some region renders as opposed to waiting for the entire render to finish. So next thing that we're going to do, we're going to start adding some objects inside and in the foreground as well. We've just added curtains and furniture there. Curtains are one of the most important objects you should add next to a glass window, and the furniture of course. Make sure the furniture is close enough to the window in order to be visible from most camera angles. So what we're going to do next is to open the render setup dialog there. Scroll down. In the max subdivisions there, we're going to change it to something like 4. Anything above 4, depending on how complex the scene is, you may just start taking a little bit of time to render. We're just going to reduce that to 4 on max subdivisions, and we're going to go into the GI tab there. Change the subdivisions of light cache to 600. Because we're doing test renders, we don't need the rendering settings to be too high. Let's do a region test render. So as you can see there, the window looks a lot more interesting with the curtains and the furniture there. So the next material that we're going to create now is the metallic roof that we see there. So let's select the roof there from the material editor. So we're just going to call this metal roof. Just click on the standard toggle there. Choose the Vray material shader. Again, just going to untick the Fresnel, highlight glossiness, and just play around with the reflectivity slightly. Also double click on that preview. And that metallic rooftop is to be black, so you're going to make it dark. Most surfaces in real life have a bit of a fall off that transcends from a dark to a lighter shade. So what we can do is to double click on the diffuse toggle there and choose the fall off. So the darkest part is black, and that is going to be slightly lighter there. So we have a fall off between that color and that color, so that makes it a little bit more realistic, just like most surfaces in the world. Scroll down to the BRDF parameters and choose the wood shader from the list. The wood shader makes surfaces look a bit more metallic. So let's change the highlight glossiness value to about 0.73. And the glossiness there, instead of being totally linear like glass, we're going to change it to 0.94. Let's do a region test render.